Today is Saturday, October 26th. It's time for our weekly meeting highlights, and today it's set your goals within reach. Very strong possibility that I need to set my goals a little bit more within my reach. We'll start off with the bad news. I did have a gain of 2 pounds. It was totally expected. I went to a funeral on Sunday, and there was not one healthy choice of all the foods to eat. And they were all my favorite comfort foods, and so I overindulged. Tuesday I went out to eat with my brother and my sisters. I had fish and chips, which everybody knows is a very high point meal. I tried to rein it in by having better choices earlier in the day, but still it was a high point meal. And then on Thursday I went to the Outback and I had an Alice's Spring Chicken with a baked potato loaded. Tried to make earlier adjustments in the day, but I don't know. And then I drank a lot of water yesterday. I would say that 1 pound of my 2 pounds is water, because I drank almost 100 ounces of water yesterday, and I didn't eliminate 100 ounces of water. I know that. So I'm hopeful for next week that I'll have a better loss. But always got to look at the positive. Kind of hard to find a positive in a 2 pound gain, I will admit. But I didn't go back into the 230s. That's a positive. It's the last entry in my book for this book. So I'll get a new book next week so I can start off fresh. So that's another good thing to look at. And the main thing is that even though I knew I ate poorly on Mondays, or Sunday rather, Tuesday and Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I was on program right to the point. I stayed within my points. I did all my exercises like I do every day. In the past, I would have said, you know what? You ate poorly on Monday morning. You ate poorly yesterday. You're going to eat out twice again this week. Let's just take a free week. That was the old Sandy. The new Sandy said no. Did I want to gain 2 pounds? No. Did I have a good time this week other than the funeral? Yes, I had a good time. And even at the funeral, you get to see, which is sad, but you get to see family that you don't normally see on an everyday basis. So it was nice seeing family that you haven't seen in a while. And that was the good aspect of the funeral. But anyway, let's get back to the setting our goals within reach. The quote that we had today are, your goals are the roadmaps that guide you and show you what is possible in your life. And that's by Les Brown. And I do think that that's a good quote. So anyway, on the card it said, when you set out to do something but fall short, what does that voice in your head say? Maybe it says, what's wrong with me? Why don't I do what I say? Why don't I do what I do? Or here I go again. These are common responses, and we all say them. We know we all say them. They're also pretty harsh. No one follows through 100% of the time. There probably is that rare bird out there that does do this 100% of the time. I personally have not met that person. But it's always more helpful to look back and figure out what got in the way and what you can do differently in the future. You can't avoid funerals. I don't want to avoid going out with my family and friends. If I have a gain that 1 week where I go, unfortunately it always seems to land the same week that I go out twice. No matter how we try to adjust our calendars, it just doesn't work out. It's just pretty much set in stone that the 3rd week of the month, I'm gonna go out to eat twice. I just have to make better choices for the other 3 weeks and know that I'm gonna have a gain that 1 week. And I don't necessarily have to have a gain, but I know who I am. And I think part of this journey is learning who you are. And I know who I am, and I am never, unfortunately, never going to follow this program 100% of the time. But if I follow it 90% of the time, I won't get back up to my 300 pounds. That's for sure. So these are the 4 guidelines that they ask you to follow. Number 1 is, how do you feel when you set the goal? Were you optimistic? Were you determined? What did it feel like to put your plan into action? For example, you might have felt excited when you decided to pack a healthy lunch at night before the work started the next day. I think if I pre-plan my meals in the morning, figure out what I'm going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then I'm going to do a lot better. I already took out out of the freezer a soup that I made the other day. I did a cook with me on it, and it was a Tuscan chicken tortellini soup. I'll put the link to the video I did for that. And it was a very good soup. I forget how many points it was. I think it was 4 points for a cup and a half. And it was a very filling. I had that alone, and it was enough to fill me up. And if you've watched my videos, you can see I put a lot of food on my plate. And that 1 cup and a half bowl of soup really was filling. And it was so worth, even if it was more than 4 points. I really don't remember exactly how many points. I'm sorry. But I'll list it in the description box how many points it was before you make it. But it was a very simple recipe, and I made it on the stove, and I think it took maybe half hour, 45 minutes. It was really quick. Number 2, when it came time to act, how did you feel? This is where you start to see what got in the way. So if you meant to pack your lunch at night, but maybe at 9 p.m. you decided you were too pressed for time or just too tired to deal with it, what did you do instead? Life gets in the way. That's going to happen. Just try to make better choices. So you didn't have time the night before because you were too stressed. Try to set your clock to get up maybe 5 minutes earlier so you have time to prepare a happy meal. Well, a happy meal, a good, healthy, happy meal for your lunch. Number 3, what are the difference? Think about the ways you felt in those 2 moments. Maybe when you first made that lunch plan, it was a Saturday and you were full by energy, but by Sunday night, you just wanted to veg out. We've all been there, which is true. You can have the best of intentions, but then, like I said, life gets in the way sometimes, and you kind of get pushed to the side. You need to put yourself first sometimes. And I know as a mother, as a woman, it's hard to do. It really is hard to do sometimes just to put yourself first. But they always tell you if you're flying and the air masks come down, you're supposed to put your air mask on first before you help anyone else, because you're not going to be of no use if you pass out. If you're the main objective of your family to keep them healthy, to keep them in line, to keep them on schedule, you have to be at your best, because if you're gone, who's going to take over? You always got to look at it that way. And number 4 is your new goal is tweak your intention to make it more doable going forward. Go back to the lunch plan. You might decide to spend a relaxed Saturday afternoon packing lunches for the week instead of doing it one night. I have done in the past. I've made my salads for the whole week. I find that it helps me out just to be able to just grab it and go. I put my cottage cheese in little half-cup containers so I just can grab those. And I always have a pineapple or something in the refrigerator that I can just scoop on top of it. Make it really easy. What you want to remember to do is to set your goals within reach. Don't set a goal that you know is impossible to follow. Try to think of, like, instead of saying I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out for 2 hours every day, kind of ease into it and say, you know what, this week I'm going to go to the gym. I don't know how long I'm going to work out, but I'm going to do it at least 3 days this week. I don't know which days I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it 3 days. You've set somewhat of a goal. It's not an impossible goal, and you can get to it. You really can. Because if you set a goal, that's the key to success. You can make your goals very attainable. That means you're going to be very successful. Or you can make them so beyond reach that you're going to get so discouraged and so disgusted with yourself that you're just going to say, is this really worth it? I don't really want to be bothered doing this anymore. And you don't want to do that. So set a realistic goal. Set a goal that's within reach, something that will help you accomplish anything you set your mind to. My goal was to lose a pound a week between now and the end of this millennium. It's because 2020 starts a whole new decade. Not a millennium, decade, a whole new decade. And so I wanted to end this decade from 2010 to 2020, the 10 years. I want to end it on a high note. So my goal was to lose 11 pounds by the end of the year. Last week I lost 1.7. Unfortunately, I gained 2 pounds, so now I'm 0.3 behind. I'm actually 1.3 behind. And but I'll make that up somewhere along the line. I just know I will. Especially with the holidays coming, you have to be extra special, diligent with that. I, not last year, but the year before that, lost weight between Christmas and New Year's. I think I lost like 9 pounds because I was really dedicated and I set a reasonable goal. Always ask yourself, what is your why? What your goals are will help you to achieve success if you know what your why is. My initial why was just to fit in an elementary school auditorium chair. My new why now is just to hit Wonderland. I have every intention of hitting Wonderland. I'm hoping to get it by Easter, which is quite a ways. That is quite a goal because that's 30 pounds. And I think Easter is, I think it's in April this year. I could be wrong, or it's the end of March, but figure the first Sunday in April, which is 6 months away. 5 pounds a month is an attainable goal. A pound a week, I can do it. I know I can do it. And once you reach your first goal, set another goal. I started off when I joined Weight Watchers with small goals. My goal was to always get into the next set of numbers. And I did really well. I went from the 300s to the 90s to the 80s to the 70s. But when I got into the 60s, oh my gosh, did I have problems. I kept going 60, 70, 60, 70, 60, 70. I got back and forth constantly. Finally got through the 60s, got into the 50s, and then I struggled again between the 50s and the 60s. Then I really breezed through and got to the 20s. But now I'm having my hard time staying out of the 30s. I don't know what it is about my psychological aspect of this journey, but I always seem to have a problem. But my goal is to get into the teens, and I will get there. I definitely will get there. My goal is to get there before Christmas. My first original goal was to get there before Thanksgiving, but sometimes you got to readjust your goals. Sometimes you just have to readjust your sails. It's just like if you're driving and there's a detour, you know, if you're even following Waze or you're taking Google Maps or something, if you miss your turn, they always recalibrate for you. So all you got to do is just recalibrate your journey and get back on track. And once you reach your first goal, set another goal. You know, you can there is no finish line. People think, well, you know, once I reach my weight that I want to weigh, I've reached my finish line and I'm done. Unfortunately, there's no finish line. You may cross the finish line, but then there's going to be another finish line that you got to follow to get across. And then another one after that, and another one after that. Because once you reach your goal, you're going to have to stay at your goal, and that might take a little bit of work. People who have goals have 10% more success. So you just have to know if you make a goal, you're going to be a little bit more successful than people that don't. People who focus on when you videotape on your phone, you get phone calls. Anyway, people who focus on breaking their goals into smaller goals are more likely to accomplish it. If I was just to say, because I would like to get down to 175, which is 55 pounds. If I want to say I want to lose 55 pounds, I'm going to think, oh my gosh. I mean, I've lost 76 pounds. To think I got to lose another 55 pounds, it just seems so unrealistic. But if I say, you know what, all I got to lose is 9.4 pounds or 9.3 pounds and I'll be in the teens, that sounds a little bit more realistic. So my goal right now, my first goal that I'm setting is to lose 9.3 pounds. I'd like to lose it by Christmas. That's my goal. So you think about doing different things this week. Track 4 days a week, at least 4 days. I mean, obviously, if you can do 7, that's even better. But track at least 4 days a week. Plan on working out or exercising or going for a walk at least 3 days a week. Because if you just set small little goals, then those smaller goals will turn into bigger goals. They definitely will. The way you think about goals and their outcomes determine your ability to achieve them. If you set a goal that's too high and so unrealistic, you're going to say, you know what, I'm never going to make it. Why am I even trying? 9 pounds. I can lose 9 pounds. I just got to put my mind to it. You have to have the ability to achieve them by self-monitoring and having a self-evaluation. Take it once a week if you weigh yourself. Have an evaluation of your week behind you and have an evaluation of the week ahead of you. See what's going to motivate you that's going to stay on track for the coming week. And always remember what Henry Ford said. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're always going to be right. So if you think you can do it, you're going to do it. If you think you can't do it, you're not going to do it. And always remember, there's no finish line because this is going to be a lifelong journey, and we're all going to be on this struggle bus for the rest of our lives. Unless you're one of the fortunate ones that don't have any weight issues, that you can eat whatever you want. We all have that one friend that can just eat whatever they want. Unfortunately, I am not that friend. I am the friend that's going to look at a cookie and I'm going to gain 3 pounds. So hopefully this helped you out today. Remember that it's set your goals within reach. The new program is supposed to be coming up in the next couple weeks. I'm curious to see what it's going to entail. I had asked one of my leaders if they were going to take the wellness points away. she's sworn to secrecy, but I don't know. I don't think that they will, because I think that that's a good program that they have. They need to give you some sort of a reward. But if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do a daily vlog. Every once in a while, I do a cook with me. I love doing tags. I do collabs. I like to share new and upcoming channels. So if you're a new and upcoming channel, I like to help you along the way if I can. So give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share it if you think somebody might like to see it. So I will see you either on my daily vlog or next week at my weekly highlights. Well, I did forget to share the, recipe. It's 9 points. That seems awful high for a meal. Stuffed delicata squash with farro, leek, and mushrooms. Leave a screenshot of it if you want to, at the very end, to see if there's something you might want to make. I will tell you that is not something that interests me.